Todd Medina, Soulogy. Todd Medina, SoulogyOneStudios. What's going on here? Democracies, aristocracies, oligarchies, monarchies, hierarchies, presidents and popes. What's the real dope? What's this all about? Faith, hope, doubt? That's all that earth stuff, man. I am a multi-dimensional, high-vibrational, evolutionary being, and I'm tired of hiding it. I am soul. I don't care who or what tried or is trying to deceive us. Call it the devil or another's Messiah, prophet, or God. It's all the same to me. Whoever they are, they can never take our souls, and that's when we came here to learn. From the burn of being wrong, denying who we are, taking orders, lawless laws, a branded existence, but not anymore. I am divinity. Yeah. Alright. The power we hold to mold the future of heavenly nirvana. From the inside, present, eternal. It's time to be a bolder flame. The game isn't the same. We are the spirit science synthesis, the action of conscious thought, alignment, transmuting to a living wisdom. Yeah. No longer dreaming the life, I am living the dream.
Mac. Who's Mac?
That's the name of my computer, I guess.
Oh, I got you. Luckily, it shows up the email.
Oh,
hey,
yeah.
So what's going on, brother? How you doing? We're already live on Facebook.
I figured. That's how it usually is. I'm just trying to share it to my page now.
Yeah, go ahead. Take your time. Take your time.
So I just go...
I'm going to do a little... You can go to my page. Or I can...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, share. There it is.
Oh.
Share now. Okay. I should have told people that I was doing this, but...
You know what? They'll see it when they need to see it.
There's always so much to do.
Especially with all this...
Last night, my website was down. It was terrifying.
I saw that post. I saw that post. I was waiting for the transmission to come through.
Yeah.
Did you get it back up and running?
I didn't, but my web guy did, thankfully.
Excellent. Got 37 people in the house. Got Daniel Scranton back on SouLSpeaks 5D for, I think, about the 5th time.
Maybe.
Been a while. Been a while. It's been good, I think, 2 or 3 months.
You still on Kauai?
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, we're here. We're locked in. Yeah. Just following the guidance. So
more into in the back and forth thing?
Well, she had to once, and we're trying to keep her from having to do it again. But
cool.
I talked to immigration yesterday or the day before. I talked to him 3 times, and but anyway, there is light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah.
We gotta file 2 documents at X number of costs. I've got enough for the first one, and as long as I get the first one filed, the minute it's received, then it's official, and then I got to file the second one, which would allow her to extend her visa. So
good.
We've got 2.5 weeks to do that, so I think we can do it. Well, we'll see what happens. See what happens. But yeah, it's all going good. How about you guys? You guys doing good?
I'm married for almost 3 years now, so
yeah.
Yeah.
And how's it going over there? It's a lot of people live over there on that island.
Compared to yours, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I like this one. I'm not trading this one.
Maui's bigger too, though.
I like this one. I'm 5 minutes from the beach, 5 minutes from the mountains, 3 blocks from the waterfall. It's
nice.
We're living on an organic farm, so it's
you are.
Yeah, yeah.
I did that for a while.
Very cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Able to go down there and pick up some greens or whatever. avocados are thick right now. There's 8 avocado trees on the property, so that's cool. Yeah. So what's been going on with you, man? What's been going on? God, what's been happening since the 1st of July? Wow, this energy is incredible. Right?
I know.
It's absolutely, I think this is the first time I could say that it's actually, there's evidence that it's hit everybody. Or at least at a conscious level, people are going, what's going on? You know? And I was saying this on the earlier show, there's, I don't know, 4 or 5 divine feminines I kind of keep a tab on because I share your stuff into the Soulogy group. And all of them are saying the same thing. All of them are talking about going deep, going into solitude, purging, but also transforming.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Then I picked up my own intel yesterday. It was about 24 hours ago. I just took a ride in between shows, and my friend who Duncan Alexander, who we've done 2 shows together, and both shows we went through the same thing prior to the show. Unbeknownst to the other person, we didn't even know each other. So he sent me a note yesterday right after this happened, and he said, I think that the Helios Gamos energy is about to re-engage. And
the what?
Helios Gamos.
I don't know what that is.
The joining of the chakras of 2 individuals, basically.
Oh.
And but anyway, so he sends me this note about 10 minutes after I get this intel. And I thought, okay, I don't know what that means. He said 12 to 24 hours. Well, it's been about 24 hours, so I think that was a good sign. That's all I got. What's been going on with the Arcturians?
You know, I really have enjoyed the difference that I felt. Let me just shut my window because there's a weed whack going on out there.
Yeah. Okay.
Or something. I've enjoyed the difference of bringing them through for people while on camera, which I've been doing now for 3 or 4 months, my videos.
Yeah.
And it's a difference. It's a different feeling from when I used to just channel them into my phone and then transcribe it and put the audio on YouTube. But now that I'm showing up with video, it's like the transmissions are longer.
Yeah.
They feel more powerful and more interactive, and people are really responding to the messages. And I hit 10,000 subscribers on YouTube. And
right on.
So I've been having so much more fun since I started doing videos of me channeling instead of just the audio.
Now, are you doing them live, or are you taping them and then uploading them?
Tape it and upload.
Yeah. And I think when you add that frequency of the visual, it expands the whole message, doesn't it? I mean, does it feel more fulfilling to you?
Yeah, I've always looked forward to doing them every single day. It's been 7 years now.
Wow.
Since I've been channeling.
It's like
daily message.
2,500.
Well, I've skipped, there have been weeks I've taken off. So not quite that amount. But
still got to be close to 2,000.
It's got to be 2,000, yeah. I've always looked forward to doing them, but it's like doing it in, oh God, my cat is rubbing her face against the microphone.
That's a sign right there.
Yeah,
I see it.
She loves it. She's my little R2D2, always at my side. So yeah, it's added even more excitement to it that I'm doing them on the video now, and it's always been like my creative outlet since I've started doing it. So choosing the thumbnail now becomes like a creative aspect to it, and then I put a different thumbnail on my site, which has like a picture of a flower or a cricket or something like that. Yeah. Not just all me all the time.
And then you have, I think I saw where you have a second book now? We have a second edition.
Third.
Third.
But it's the second where I've done a compilation from all the different beings that I've, not even all, but the ones I've done enough transmissions of from each to give them, you know, their own chapter. And so, yeah, that's just got on Amazon, I think, the end of last month.
Yeah. Very cool.
It's called Channeled Wisdom from Higher Dimensional Beings, Volume 2. Amazon now. Yeah, and the first one's obviously on there too. And then the one that I did in between those two was just with Arcturian Council messages, and I just broke that up into, I think, 7 or 9 chapters of different topics that they've covered.
Yeah.
And it's been over 3 years now that I've been doing them from the Arcturian Council. Yeah.
Wow.
So I feel the difference of, like, the reason I've stuck with them for so long is I just feel how much more variety there is and depth, and like how much more interactive it is with them. It's much more about how they're interacting with us, rather than just early on the messages I was getting were just basically like, here's what you do about your relationships, here's what you do about your financial situation, here's what you do about contact with ETs, all the more broad subjects, you know. And now it's more like, here's what's going on right now.
Yeah.
You know, which I like.
Yeah, and that's a good point right now too, because we've had the solstice.
Yep.
Around the 20th, and everything seemed to really pick up at that point. And then it seemed like it hit another high point around the 1st, and I think the second was a new moon. Yeah, eclipse, new moon, give or take. I don't know which came first. And wow, it's just been amazing. And then July 4th comes, and we've got these earthquakes, and then July 5th more.
Oh yeah, the earthquake.
Yeah. So I mean, and then I was watching, doing some research, and on a few channels that I kind of keep tabs on. They're talking about the July 4th celebration in Washington, and the spaceships that were showing up in the sky, and more Q drops, and and this and that. So everything seems to be paralleling, on the global stage and what we're all experiencing. But it still seems like we're driving it. What's the latest you've been getting from the Arcturians?
Just today, I was channeling for somebody, and they're talking about how we have the conservatives. What the conservatives represent right now are attachment.
Yeah.
So conservatives are attached to an older way, the old ways, as being better. So it's make America great again, right?
National. Yeah.
And then you have progressives. And progressives are the ones that can feel that big changes are coming, that are in favor of change, but also kind of want the change now, and aren't really willing to wait for the change to come. So the progressives, and I consider myself a progressive, so I'm not saying that, this is coming from the Arcturians, not me. They're saying that the progressives tend to be more resistant. So whether it's attachment, that's your form of not going with the flow, or resistance, because the progressives are resistant to things not moving along faster in the way that we all want them to. We all want to get there and have the shift and the event and the solar flash and all the things people are always talking about. We want it tomorrow. We want it yesterday, and so that's what we struggle with. So most of the time I work with clients, what I hear is people talking about like not fitting in, not being able to find satisfying work, not wanting to be here anymore, just feeling like they're ready, you know, they're ready to move, and the movement couldn't come fast enough. So that's, I think when I channeled that today, I was like, wow, that really does sum it up. It doesn't really matter what your form of tension is and not going with the flow. It's equally as hard.
But that's an interesting mix of polarities, you know. You wouldn't think necessarily resistance and attachment would be polarities, but when you identify them with those two frequencies, and one's attached and one's resistant.
Yeah.
You know,
some of us are more than happy to let go, you know. Like, yeah, sure.
That's how we've been doing.
I don't care. Take it.
Yeah, that's how we've been doing. It's letting go, right? Yeah, that's really interesting. I find that really interesting. And the thing that I'm picking up very recently too, maybe it's just me, but I'm picking this up in the shows of the last few days and people's posts and stuff. They're tired. They're done.
Yeah.
They're ready. And I don't think that's really resistance is what I'm feeling. I think it's just, you know what? You know, for all of us, we had to go through that dark night of the soul, or plural, and you have to hit that point where you say, I've had enough of this. Yeah. You know? I mean, my fault, your fault, nobody's fault. This has got to change.
But that's the opportunity. Sorry to cut you off.
No.
Do you want to say something else?
No. I was just going to say that's the same thing. That's the point where everything starts to happen. You know? Right.
And what the other thing the Arcturian said through me today was that what you want to do is you want to find that pocket. There's like this little pocket in the fourth dimension where we are right now, where we can exist as fourth dimensional beings and feel okay about being where we are, in spite of the fact that these people over here are dropping bombs and holding white supremacist rallies and all this is going on over here. And other stuff's going on over here too that's not good. And you find this place in the middle of where you can find your experience of growth, your experience of like that internal evolution of consciousness and flowering of self.
Yeah.
You can still be in this world and find it, but you can't find it if you're pushing against them or if you're pushing against them.
No, you
can't do it because it's not, the way is not to change things through conventional means.
Well, and even through externalization, you know, I think, I mean, that's a really good point. And I think about, okay, how would this play out? I think it's important to remember what you said, what they told you, what came through you today, because, so what if, let's just play what if. We'll play two what ifs. We'll play a progressive what if and a conservative what if. Conservative what if is Trump continues on, and I have no attachment to anybody. And Q ends up, you know, coming true, and disclosure happens, and secret space programs revealed, and there's a story told to us that the white hats turned everything around. I still have to take that with a grain of salt. But if you look on the other side, it might be Marianne Williamson. She becomes the new president, and it starts to move that direction. We have to remember that for thousands and thousands of years, we've been fed a script. Yeah. And so what's changed now? It still comes down to that internalization, that little pocket you're talking about.
Yeah.
And I remember about 3 months ago, I received a vision, or whatever you want to call it, and it was talking about the 0 point, but it showed the 0 point as being like an oval shape. So, you know, above and below, right? There was an oval shape, and it was showing how we were fluctuating, and we actually had the ability to fluctuate within the 0 point. So, and instead of popping out to one extreme or the other.
Yeah.
But that reminds me of the pocket that came through you today in that explanation.
Yeah, because really, if there's no evolution of consciousness, then what difference does it make? What difference does it make if we're all driving electric cars that run on free energy or whatever, you know, all the things we want to see happen, the revaluation of currency, Nasara, Gasara, whoever Sara, full disclosure. What difference does that make if we don't change our consciousness from within? So you have to live what Gandhi said, which is be the change you want to see in the world.
Right.
The world's not going to just evolve because some shit happened. That's, you know, right. Like that's not really the way that you want it to either. So there was a prediction Bashar made a long time ago about the Middle East, saying that what's really going to bring peace to the Middle East is the detonation of a nuclear bomb. Of course, we don't want that. No. We don't want the baptism by fire of, holy shit, look what we did. This is stupid. Let's stop doing this.
That's right.
You know, and so I don't watch. I watch a lot of YouTube and listen to a lot of podcasts, but I stay as far away from anything having to do with Trump. I'm more interested in people's experiences.
Exactly.
So I want to. What's interesting to me is a person who's just figuring it out, or trying to figure it out, or they're open. You know, so I listen to a lot of podcasts where just people I like who are being interviewed, and they don't necessarily share all the same views as me, but I find it interesting that they're open to something being there that perhaps they don't believe in yet.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
Well, and then also too, like, which is really the staple of this show, is the personal experience, like you said, because that personal experience, no matter what they're talking about. I mean, you know, we spend so much time debating the truth. Well, the truth is my experience. This is my experience. That's your experience. There's some type of incredible download, transmission, code exchange occurs when two people talk about their experience. I mean, it's not in a book. It's not going to be in a show. It's just a conversation that happens to be broadcast that other people participate in. I think that's really a powerful thing. And I agree with you. I think, you know, I mean, we've had these orchestrations, and we don't even have to go back 100 years to look at all the different orchestrations we've had where people's consciousnesses were premeditatively brought together. They were brought together. They were drawn by a war, or by a 9/11, or by a JFK, and everybody went to one consciousness. We were not smart enough to know at the time, but we are now. So I think we've got to be really careful when we want to hang our hats on anything in the external movie that's playing here. And that would include even things that we might consider or things that would be maybe calling the shots from above what we see and read about in the papers and here on the internet.
Yeah, that's exactly the problem I have with what's going on right now in the New Age community, is that people are way too interested in what someone else thinks, or so-and-so's intel. You know, I do not care what Benjamin Fulford says. I really don't. You know, I've read just enough of his stuff to feel such a crappy feeling in my belly to go, I don't care if this guy is telling 5% truth. It doesn't matter. Like, I don't want to feel the way that I feel when I read what he's writing. So, and I chose him specifically because of, you know, something I read about he wrote about the Jewish mafia or something like that. And I thought, really, are we picking on the Jewish people now? Are we picking, like, that's considered spiritual? I mean, I just, let's not do that. You know, let's not separate anymore. I don't want to hear about this group and that group that have, you know, who knows what anyone's agenda is who's writing those articles on the internet, and it's really hard to know. So yeah. I would much rather listen to a Ram Dass or an Eckhart Tolle or someone who's just teaching you about being present, going within. You know, I just don't resonate with that stuff, man. And I know that most of it's true. Yeah. I believe most of it's true. When you get into like JFK Jr. being alive, that's where I go, okay, that's crazy. You know, and if he does turn out to be alive and be helping, you know, great. But to me, it sounds crazy.
Well, you know, we're learning one thing. We're learning one thing. Truth is stranger than fiction. So I guess anything's possible. We have to stay open. But I love what you said about feel. Feel is really the way to operate. It's not about what you're being told or what makes sense or doesn't make sense or agrees or doesn't agree with you. It's about what you feel. I mean, if you feel something, this is how we all came together. We all started resonating through private messages and posts that we felt kindred frequencies with, and this is the vehicle for us to continue to mobilize and expand is to trust our gut, our intuition, our feeling, because it's not going to lie.
Yeah, that's the difference between religion and spirituality. I just made a video. So I've been making videos now more where I'm speaking my truth too on YouTube, and my religion and spirituality video is about how spirituality is about a personal experience that you have. Yeah. And religions are often created out of that and then become diluted and become, you know, retranslated by someone else who has a certain agenda. But now spiritualism or New Ageism has been around long enough now where people are creating religions out of things that are not meant to become religions. You know, it's like I remember early on finding out that, when I say early on, I mean early on in my awakening, yeah, finding out some people who listen to and read the Seth books are at odds with people who listen to and read Abraham's material or some other channel being, and I just thought, why? You know, why do you care what those people over there believe? Why are you trying to convince somebody else that your truth is the right truth? It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I've always thought that if we're trying to convince somebody else, we're really just trying to convince ourselves.
Yeah, really, it's true. Sure. It's absolutely true, because there must be some shaky ground on which your faith is resting if you need everybody to agree with you.
Yeah, and I think that's what I actually think we're moving away from it, but I think that's what you were describing to a small degree. The whole I don't really call it New Age. I don't know what you call it, but these light worker circles, that herd mentality. But I see people more and more every day stepping away and in their own way saying, hey, I'm pulling my information direct.
Right.
You know, I'm not reading as many books. I'm not, you know, not to take anything away from books or any other type of presentation, but they're relying more on themselves and they're being true to themselves. And if you ask me, that's how this thing gets flipped.
Yep. You know? I agree. It's
not about who you
got to shut off our computers.
Yeah.
We got to shut off our phones. We got to shut off our tablets, and we got to get out into nature and actually feel what's going on. Otherwise, it's just some story. You know, it's somebody else's version of reality.
Yeah.
And because, you know, and the internet is a great thing. I love the internet and, you know, how it connects people and how much information you can get off of it. But at some point, you know, it's got to be a personal experience, and there's no savior coming.
That's right. Now that's exactly right. Or saviors coming.
Right, but, saviors. Yeah.
But I will say this, and I've said this before, but over the last few days, there seems to be a stronger and stronger galactic presence. I don't know what that means. You know, I mean, I'm seeing a lot of different pictures and photos being taken I'm seeing stuff when I go out. Some of the stuff that's coming in my own right seems to be very galactic, mostly in tones, but there's been some voice activation, which really is I don't think it's my voice. It's just like tones that I'm being introduced to, or that are being opened up or something. I don't really have my finger on it yet.
Yeah.
Are you getting that? Are you feeling a stronger galactic?
It's funny you said that, because I think it was earlier this week where I was teaching channeling or something with somebody, and realizing that we had our sort of channeling revolution, where suddenly back in 2010 when I first started channeling, I didn't know people who channeled other than like the people you heard of online or read their books or something. Now so many people are channeling.
Yeah.
And then I started speaking light language in 2011. And now recent years, you notice the explosion of people speaking light language, and it's awesome. And I freaking love it.
It is.
I love it. And so many of my clients tell me they're speaking light language.
Yeah.
And then I thought to myself earlier this week, I bet you the next one will be tones.
Yeah.
People are going to start channeling these tones. Like I started channeling tones in like 2012, I think.
Yeah.
And now they're a big part of my channeling, as is light language still.
Well, I think a lot of people are hearing tones. And I know I've had for about 3.5, 4 years, and I know a lot of people are. I'm starting to understand them more. Normally it would be like an affirmation, or if I said something or something was said to me, then it would go off telling me that's truth, or that's legit. Now it's coming in over the last, I would say the last few weeks, but really more intense the last 2 or 3 weeks. I'm actually getting the message, and sometimes who it is, right? Oh. The other thing that's been happening, this is very recent, I want to say over the last 3 days, has been whales and dolphins. Yeah, and I don't know where that came from, because I've never gone there before. And,
they're from Sirius, right?
That makes sense to me. With the Sirius conjunct with the sun.
So Sirius, when you said galactic, that you're feeling more galactic energy, that was one of my thoughts right away, was Sirius.
Yeah.
Popped in there. And the dolphins and the whales are the ambassadors, the representatives of Sirius, just like the kitties, like this little cat here, are representing the Lyrans.
Yeah.
And of course, that's one of the great things that happened with the internet, is you used to see how everybody just said, like, I don't like cats. Cats are aloof. Cats suck, And then the internet comes along and you see all these cute cat videos. And now cats have like risen up to being more lovable now, and people are seeing them as more lovable.
That's very true.
So there's the feline. We've always loved dogs, right? Because dogs also have that Syrian service-oriented energy about them. But of course, the dolphins and the whales are here in service, and they're making those sounds in the ocean to support us. Those tones and sounds.
Yeah, that Sirius resonates a lot, and then I had to deal with the dragons. The dragons kind of resurfaced the last few days.
They have to, yeah.
And one of the messages I got, for me, it was just me. I mean, it wasn't like, I don't know if it's, but it was the same thing about let's get to work, service oriented, like you said. And I kind of got that the Syrians were directly connected to the dragons. Yeah. So that was interesting.
Yeah, I've wondered recently why does China, why does it seem like the Asian countries have more of a fascination with the dragons? I don't know the answer, but I find it interesting.
Well, we had a good friend of ours that we actually met here on Kauai. She came to visit from Canada. She's Vietnamese. Her family migrated from Vietnam after the war, or during the war. Hung Win, and she talked about that. We did a show, and she talked about the dragon heritage or culture, and basically she said, in my family, since day one, we talk about dragons every day. You know, we talk about dragons like we do anything else that you talk about on a daily basis, and several of her family members have dragons. They're acknowledged. Her father was big into it. He brought her in on it. I mean, so it was a very interesting hour-long show with her. And then I think right around that time, somebody else had brought it up, a show or two before. But I noticed last year around September, October, in my own right, I started to receive communion from dragons, messages, images, whatever. And then we interviewed Gayatri Singh, who does this dragon art, which is basically her channeling, done in artwork and then with an explanation, a commentary. And when we met her, which was at the end of last year, she had just in the previous couple of months started connecting with the dragons. But I've seen a lot of dragon action over these first 6 or 7 months this year with people.
I feel like it's a bridge for us to get more comfortable with reptilian energy, since they have kind of a reptilian vibe to them.
Yeah.
So that we, you know, when we're face to face with reptilians someday, we'll be able to handle it.
Yeah.
You know, all that stuff coming up from the history with reptilians.
I think that goes for all of our star family. I think they'll all be interesting that you know, I'm walking around at night by myself these last few days, and I'm looking for them. I feel them. I feel it. Last night was particularly eerie. I saw this triangle Christmas tree shaped looking thing, and I thought it was a tower, and it never moved, and I'd never seen it before. It was red lights, and they would blink, not in any type of pattern either, white to red, and it was very unusual. I stared at it for a couple of hours. So I don't know. To me, I guess you could say there's more veils dropping. I don't know how you want to put it, but it seems to me to be directly related to this internal discernment, new choices that people are making, which is basically a collective, I'm done with this. What are we waiting for? You know, kind of like you were saying about the progressives, but like, what are we waiting for? We don't need to wait. We have this power. We can do this.
Right. Yeah. If you want to experience difference in the world, and you know, you take the time to go within and deal with your own shit, and and then get into a high vibe place, and then go out into the community and connect with people.
Right on.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. But one thing that I was thinking of when you're talking about all this too is I think you kind of alluded to soft disclosure there.
Yeah.
And one of the articles I've seen a couple times come up is how science is now saying that octopus or octopi cannot be from our world. There's just no way that their genes or their DNA make sense on this planet.
Yeah.
So so we do have ETs with us, and they are in the ocean, and the Arcturians gave a message through me recently too about how that might be the next step in readying ourselves for more disclosure and more contact, is the revelation that there are more ET beings in the ocean.
Oh, I think that's absolutely true. There's no doubt about it. I mean, the inner earth, the ocean.
The inner earth will probably be after the ocean, because the ocean, at least, they're still out there, safe distance away from most of us. But when we start connecting with the beings that live underneath the surface of the planet, then people are really going to have to, you know, deal with some of their stuff that comes up, you know, around that. So I think maybe at some point there'll be a delegation that comes out from the inner earth, or maybe the Dalai Lama and the Pope and whoever else is a, you know, big time leader goes in and, you know, and has a little powwow in there.
Yeah, could be very well. Yeah, I mean, there's plenty of evidence.
Yeah.
Of both, you know, of deep water. A lot of people talk about the deep blue water, the people of the deep blue. A lot of people talk about the lucid dreams, where they're swimming through portals and stuff. I know I've had a lot of friends talk about that. You know, the other thing I've noticed too, Daniel, I'm pretty attuned to my body. I noticed, I want to say around March, I started to really notice my body disposing of, I guess, old DNA or whatever the case is, old cellular. And I've noticed it from time to time, but over the last few days, it's been very, very noticeable. Like my body, I can feel it changing very, very rapidly. And I gotta say they all parallel. Like it's coming to a head. I know we've said this before, and a lot of people have said it, and people talk about the event was going to happen then. I don't even know if there's an event, but I just know it feels like something. I don't want to say the straw that breaks the camel's back, but something, the tipping point, which I think's already been hit. But I mean, on a linear timeline where you actually see hard evidence. And there's drastic change, be it through natural occurrences, be it through something else. I don't know.
Yeah. There's plenty of hard evidence out there that ET life exists. It's just, I think, you know, before I had my own personal experience with ETs, I didn't care that they existed. You know, I believed that they did. I just didn't care because I didn't see the relevance of them to us.
Yeah.
So I think that personal experience is going to be a huge part of it too for people, is that where you have more and more of these people having their own experiences with ETs and UFOs, and then getting more interested as a result. And then they'll look and they'll say, oh, look, it's in the New York Times, an article about this tic-tac shaped UFO. And
yeah.
You know, obviously there's a lot out there.
Yeah.
Already.
I think to me, what's more credible to me, I almost don't trust anything in the sky. You know? I don't. I mean,
you're right, because you never know who it could be.
Yeah, I mean, there's enough evidence there. You know, if you just follow the cookie crumbs from World War II onward. But these personal visitations, these personal interactions, I mean, Morgan and I documented a lot of the ones that we've had. I would think a couple of things jump out at me for this year. One is these golden beings, which first came up around us last summer. Now, the reason I say that is because recently several people have brought it up on shows. So the golden light beam seems to be a real big deal. We had some episodes 2-3 weeks ago with some very tall white, and I don't mean like tall whites like they talk about, but tall white apparitions that seem to be very, very, very high vibrational, a lot like these golden light beams. The other thing we had happen too was these dragons. I had them individually, she had them individually, then we had them together. She actually had a her dragon came in. You know, we just clap palms every night and see what happens. Her dragon comes in. She merged with it through all the chakras, you know, and then said, let's merge with him. And so then they merged with me, and I've seen plenty with Morgan, the morphine and stuff, but I see this dragon appear kind of above me and then turn its snout to me, and I can clearly see its face and everything. And that's, I think, around the time I got the message of the connection to the Syrian. But it was very interesting a few days. You know, when you see a dragon claw on your chest, it's pretty interesting.
Yeah. I love it.
But I think that's what's happening. I think somebody just said it. Somebody just said it a minute ago. Mira here in the Zoom room. She said, "So what you're being aware creates a contact." So I think that's what you were talking about with the New York Times and that type of thing. As we open our mind to these things, to the possibilities of them, they start to show themselves more and more and more. And that's done on an individual level. And then the 100th monkey thing takes over.
Yeah. Definitely.
Oh, we got one question here, and then we can go into something else. Linda Winger said, she said, sorry if I was way off topic. She was asking about, and I know this has been said in the Q crowd, underground bunkers being taken out. And that is reflected by these earthquakes. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. But what I can say is that one of the things I've channeled a few times is that consciousness evolution does not involve defeating anyone.
I agree with that.
It's not about defeating.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So I don't get excited when I hear about mass arrests. I get excited when I hear about people telling me that they channeled for the first time or had their ET experience or whatever. Yeah. So I don't want to, I don't want to speculate about directed energy weapons starting forest fires and, any of that stuff, because what matters in a situation like that, what matters with an earthquake is how it brings people together.
Yeah.
Where all of a sudden there's people volunteering. I have a client who there was a lot of flooding and other forest fires and all that stuff happening in her community, and she just went right into volunteer mode and was, feeling so much connection with so many other people in the community.
Yeah, that's an important energy, and to remember that we are energy, and I think that's one of the challenges or one of the problems I have with, these events, because they're really just consolidating all this consciousness, all this energy, and I think now in this year of sovereignty, in this year of expansion, we can really start to open to the possibility that we actually do create this, not just talk about it. And I don't mean to take any shots anymore, but not in a new age way, in a cliche way, but we actually change this stuff, like you said, from the inside out. And those things that you're talking about are indicative that that's occurring, which is people channeling, people doing light language, people having visitations, dimensional experiences. That to me means we're on the right track.
Yeah. I mean, I think about the impact that the awakened person can have who says, I want to drive an electric car or, get solar panels or both. I'm going to recycle as much as I can, reuse as much as I can, rather than, just pointing fingers at corporations. And saying they're the ones doing all the polluting. You've got to look at who is that inside of you? Like where is that? Because if it's out there, it's in here.
Yeah.
Infinity goes in both directions.
That's right.
So if you're getting triggered by something, you've got to look at what is it in me that I don't like, that this person or group of people represents.
Yeah, I think that's the bottom line. And people have been talking on the show the last few days about the triggers that the eclipse and the solstice and everything's been pulling up. They seem to be rebounding pretty quick, correcting the integrity of whatever they might have done or not done. And that the elevation that comes with it. It's like, it like you said earlier, it's an opportunity. And it's also internalized versus externalized, which is where the real change is made. We've just been raised in this environment where we're always looking out here, but I think people are really starting to get the hang of it now. I think there's a lot of evidence of that. Call them first wavers or way showers or Blu-rays or whatever, but there seems to be a lot of connectivity happening now, including people coming together in the physical, with couples and also with groups.
Yeah, definitely. And that's what most people need. Most people are searching for that. And when they can't find it locally, when you feel isolated, you know, the internet is a great place to connect with other people, but you also can connect through the grid system in the earth. So if you want to feel into what's available to you right underneath your feet, go outside, sit down, or it doesn't matter, lie down, stand. You can connect to that grid that the other light workers are connecting to all across the world. Yeah. And you can be a conduit for energy to flow through you. You can receive from that grid. Yeah. And then, you know, we all have these benevolent beings around us that most people are saying, but I don't hear them. You know, I talk to them, but I don't hear them. But you've got to listen with more than your ears. Yeah. Because they want to be felt. Yeah. They want you to not question whether they're there. They just want you to feel for their presence and know that they love you, know that they support you, and that they're always around you. And then I think when you do those, when you take those steps, then you're more likely to see it in the physical around you, to have your neighbor who may not look like she's awake at all, but then you have a conversation, you're like, holy shit, this person believes what I believe, even though she looks like she's a housewife from the Midwest, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I think it's rampant out there. I think there's a lot more people tuned in than not. I really do. And maybe at the level many of us were in 2011, 2012, when we really started to look at, hey, wait a minute, 9/11 didn't look right, and this didn't look right, and that didn't look right, as more information was coming out. But there's a lot of people. I'm seeing evidence of it in these discussions and in comments that people make. I think another thing that's happened recently too, I think it was in last month, it was big, but it seems to be coming to the surface too with these triggers and the intensity of what's been going on with these dates, these cycles, these planetary movements and stuff, is compassion, is to, maybe you have a trigger or someone has a trigger towards you, and we're able to go into compassion first and foremost for ourselves, for instead of beating ourselves up. That seems to be a powerful turnaround energetically that would serve us very well in the collective.
I think it's the key to everything. And it's something that when you have it, you wish you could give it to someone else who doesn't, you know? Yeah. You just wish you could somehow teach someone how to be compassionate. But I think it's something that happens through experience, through suffering, through living. And when you live, you naturally evolve, and compassion then just becomes a part of your experience.
Yeah. And I think that's a good point too, what you made, because we've all been there where we want to tell people, you know,
yeah,
like, but I think we're in this space now where we are the energy that we are. So it's just by our living being example, doing, it's not even the words. It's just like that truth frequency coming out, no matter what you're talking about. It's just that pureness, that rawness. I know it sounds crazy, because you would think it'd be some esoteric, secreted knowledge and keys and codes, but it's brings to mind another subject that's been coming up, which has been they're learning through us. Mm-hmm. We receive information from them, these aspects of you, me, we, and it, but they are actually learning from us. They cannot do what we're doing.
Yeah.
And I think we've vastly underestimated the power of the experiences, the incarnations that we've had. They've been like hell for us, but actually has been an incredible transmutation collectively.
Yeah, humanity is pretty unique because we have so much diversity within the human race, and we have so much diversity within the animal kingdom. And so if you think about all the different energies that are represented by all the different beings that we have here, and the fact that we're so emotional, we're so tapped into our emotions. Of course, there's a lot of trying to numb the emotions going on as well and ignore them, but they're there and they're going to be felt, they're going to be experienced at some point. So what we're doing takes on even more significance because of the newness of Earth as well.
Yeah.
So Sirius, Lyra, Pleiades, Arcturus, they're all very old. And we brought all that, and Orion and all the other ones, Andromeda, we brought all that here. And we've got this, you know, quilt of all of this inside of ourselves, and we need to work it all out, and it's very challenging.
Well, you know, and because you said it, this is a very diverse planet.
Yeah.
But it even ramps up after that because all of their seeds they've all got a hand in the seeding of the earth. I think that's, you know what I mean? So that diversity, that alignment that we're finding is actually helping them to align too. It has to be. It makes total sense.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? So
okay.
I mean, it's I think that's to me. I mean, I don't get caught up in the stories, but it's going to be real interesting to see what the history has been, you know, without dispute, you know, because I mean, the truth is the truth. And I'm sure at some level of telepathy, we'll know everything that happened and occurred because we're all carrying memory of it. Do you want to do any toning or anything before we get out of here?
What do you want? What do you feel inspired to hear?
Whatever you want to do, man. I'm always in sync with you. I have no problem.
Let's do a light language to help everyone who hears it integrate all of these high frequency energies that are a little bit crazy making and chaotic for people at times.
Right on. That's a good one. I like that.
Okay, so basically I just intend for that light language to come through me, and then it automatically does. So I pretty much just let it happen here, people, with that intention in mind. Tekanan do sendan poletana monte caratat se campo al que le pano colampito te se bonmoso campo tu iban mantico amutro can le mandico dembite le poto zekke mandeko o iti monon de ketiko Nindikateka o Zegamananga o Tekamana Mondo o Zekedamandeke Monolo Matila Mandike Pol Pela Monoco Enemondi Kanana Monoconomo Zelikatan Lamdocolo Punene Botu Kamandi Todola Manacala Hila Monosetuco Il paila batul katila pu il panamogolo katila kaemono kola hileman kolo ke il kalamana kala para kot kolo la menduko ile to mondo lo la mende mono mante tambutuko il manala patira monte mondo lo la mande talambuko Nike mononando tolo colo poticolo ten to il mina manamono helande hanondo colo la mananom tequila colo cola mana colo patikira mana cala mono colo ele le dal mondo non te quedando la mondo la maneno man Mendigo lemon de mono
Thank you, brother.
Yeah, my pleasure.
That was a good one. I like that one. I like that.
Yeah, very sing-songy.
I like that. That was very good. I was trying to get a take on what star family or that was, because I've heard something similar to that, not with that, but without the melody, the rhythm. But I can't remember who it was. Very cool. So that's to help us, to assist us to gain more clarity with the frequencies coming.
Integrate, with ease, so that there's less ascension symptoms and, you know, triggers and calamity and all that stuff in our lives, that we can sort of, I think a lot of the light language purpose is to give us activations that then open us up more and give us more access to what's already all around us all the time. So I'm sure there was a transmission as well.
Oh, I agree. Absolutely. Yeah. I'm looking forward to seeing light language conversations. I actually saw one in Sedona. This friend of mine I was with, and a couple of her friends, and this stranger walked up, and her and this stranger just went into light language with no, you know, no solicitation, no intention.
Really?
Oh yeah, they went right into it. Wow. And it had a melody to it too.
Wow.
It was really interesting. He's a young guy.
Wow.
So you're still doing the YouTube transmissions every day from originating on your website?
Well, I upload them directly to YouTube. My channel is youtube.com/Dan Scranton. But my website is Daniel Scranton. So you can't change your YouTube URL once you have it. I changed over from Dan to Daniel about 9 years ago or something.
And your books, they're on Kindle? Amazon?
One of them's on Kindle, but the paperback versions, they're really nice coffee table books because they're big. They're 8.5 by 11.
Oh, cool.
One channel transmission per page. They're all on Amazon. You just search for my name, Daniel Scranton, they'll pop up.
Right on.
Or include the word channeled in there. That'll tighten it up a little.
What's that?
If they include the word channeled in their search on Amazon, that'll tighten it up.
Right on. So we should definitely, be in this close proximity, we should definitely try to put some type of something together. There's enough people on the West Coast and in the Hawaiian Islands that we could probably have a pretty good little turnout, either over there, or over here, or wherever,
Cool, man. I'd love to.
Yeah. All right. Man, it's good to see you again. Let's not wait so long. Next time we'll reach out to you.
Okay.
And the best to your beloved, both of you.
Thanks, Todd.
All right, brother. I'll see you later.
Hello.
Take care.